for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure. Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure. Caring for people.
And one more.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Good morning. Wake up, America. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. Barney Styles is here. C.O. Day is here. Jimmy Joe Patty. Southcott from the Isle of Alderney. Oh, and Siggy Mom. Taxation is theft. Right, baby? We're all here together. All the main characters. BB for Liberty. Wake up, America. They told you he was a saint. They told you he was a peaceful healer. But today, we have the proof that Alex Pretty was nothing more than a woke commie agitator who finally found the trouble he was stalking. He effed around, and he found out. He was effing out around a lot. They'll try and tell you it doesn't matter, but the goalposts will have moved, and I say no, hell no. We're winning. The communist pukes are on the run. They're running out of bananas and rice down there in Minneapolis. I don't know. The bananas and rice girl got arrested. I kid you not. The bananas and rice girl got arrested. Anna Navarro's out be clowning herself on CNN. They hadn't seen the tape. They got too fat. They got too fast and too furious.
This is like the perfect guy. Alex Pretty is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be a decent human being who was serving humanity.
Alex Pretty is the perfect guy. The one you want to date your daughter. No, because then if she did, and they got married and had kids, they'd be fatherless. They'd grow up to become more little communist pukes, because isn't communism really just fatherless behavior? Isn't that really what we're talking about here? Fatherless behavior? That's not a real man. That's a weenie. That is not a defender of the West. That is an enemy of everything good in this country. Woke agitator, smashing, spitting, the corporate media is dead. You watch this podcast because you know if you turn on the legacy news, they're going to lie to you. All right, the tip of the iceberg, though, is the tip of the iceberg. While Minneapolis burns, yes, Justin, I love watching the narrative collapse in real time, and it's happening so fast. It's like the stupid leftist does something dumb, throws themselves under a bulldozer, and then everybody's like, why did Trump do this? And then as soon as we find out, he was a peaceful boy. A minute and a half later, it feels like, just days later, we find out that he had a repeated history of violent, antagonistic behavior, carrying a gun in public. You know what? When you have a gun safety course, last night, you know what our little credo is in Shotokan Karate? Dojo-kun. Seek perfection of character. Be faithful. Endeavor. Respect others. Refrain from violent behavior. Yes. That's what they teach you. Karate is for defense only. No, this guy's a criminal and part of a syndicate to defend fraudsters by any libertarian definition. He is there committing violence on behalf of people who are committing fraud against the American taxpayer. Boo. Bow to the queen of slime. He's trash, and I won't get behind him. And a lot of conservatives and a lot of larberts who rolled over for this guy immediately ought to be ashamed of themselves. Shame on you. Shame on you. Why haven't you learned? In 2016, I ran for president of the United States. I called Trump a fascist. And now here I am. I was wrong. Learn when you're wrong. Learn your lessons. Don't be a lulbertarian. Learn your lessons when you're wrong. Donald Trump, best damn weapon we've got. When you're in a fight, you got the nearest weapon. You pick up your American flag knife with the Constitution engraved on the side, and you just get jiggy with it, get slitty with it. You pick up whatever you've got. Donald Trump is the American flag steel knife with the We the People Constitution on there. Is he perfect? No. Could he have a nice maybe little rubber handle here? Sure. Are there warts? Yeah, but I'll take them. Warts and all. Don't care. I saw Tim Pool the other day. They were giving him shit. People are like, Austin, you're such a bootlicker right now. And I'm just like, what boots? Tim Pool's the other day is like, it's my boot. I voted for this boot. We're putting the boot. It's my boot. I lick my boot. It's my boot. It's my house. It's my boot. I lick my boot. It's masturbatory. I'm just having so much fun with this, guys. I hope you are too. Welcome to the Wake Up America show. It's 7:10 a.m. We got Camille Peterson on the show. You got me all morning, all to yourselves. Oh, we have so much to talk about, so much to discuss. Have you got your Founding Flavors coffee? I'm drinking Revere's Rebel Roast this morning. We're going to go walk the Freedom Trail where Paul Revere. I'm telling you, if you aren't coming to Boston, go into debt if you have to. Just... Seriously, though, it's going to be a trip of a life. These are one of those things you're not going to regret hanging out with me, Justin Peterson, Stephanie, maybe Brad. I'm trying to get Danielle out there, too, if I can raise enough money. Buy some tickets. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Join me, Justin, Stephanie, all of the Friends of Freedom, Peterson's Patriots. We're going to go to Boston. We're going to see where Paul Revere rode. We're going to walk the Freedom Trail. We're going to go to the Boston Tea Party Museum. We're going to ride the boat in the Boston Harbor. We're going to talk about the history of what happened there, how the revolution was planned. And we're going to celebrate because we are the group of libertarians who are based and red-pilled and white-pilled. We are the group. We can see the victory on the horizon. Are the bad guys coming and trying to get us? Yes. Are they winning some battles here and there? But they ain't won the war. Damn it. We're still fighting this war. We're the revolutionary patriotic American libertarians, founding fathers-esque. Hell, shit fire. My coffee is named after the founding fathers and Voltaire, not a founding father, but in spirit. He's a spiritual. He wrote Tartuffe. It's the yummiest boot I've ever licked, says BB for Liberty. It is quite yummy. Oh my God, we're going to hell. We're going to libertarian hell because we violated the NAP. And who gives a shit? We'll all go to hell together. We're breaking down the smash and spit video. While Minneapolis burns, the money, it disappears. We're exposing the $9 billion fraud scandal. I'm not going to let it go. That has turned the Minnesota into the capital of anarcho-tyranny. If you thought the government was there to protect you, think again. They protect the criminals and they target the patriots. We have the receipts. We have the data. We have the power. And we have the moral clarity to say what no one else will. If you're not watching the Wake Up America show, you're missing out. And if you're not inviting your friends to come watch this, what is it? Am I your dirty little secret? You don't want people to know that you watch Austin Peterson on Rumble 5 days a week, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time? What, you don't want them to know that you clicked the like button already? You don't want them to know that you clicked the follow button if today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show? What, you don't want to repost the Wake Up America show and put it into other people's feeds? Are you ashamed of me? Well, no. Well, then invite me over to dinner, for goodness sakes. And while the left celebrates the empty cradle, the MAGA movement is having a baby boom. We are dissecting the birth dearth and showing you why the GOP is officially the party of parents. I'm good with it. I'm glad to hear it. Damn glad to hear it. The liberals are breeding themselves into extinction while we are raising the voters of 2044. Plus, is your alma mater bought and paid for by terror-funding autocrats? Qatar has dumped $6.6 billion into American campuses. And we have the unsealed court records from Carnegie Mellon proving that your children's education is being traded for petrodollars. It's a systemic takeover. We're blowing the whistle on the entire Qatari grift. Hello, 69 people watching us live. Booty Sweat, Amy J. Ease, Will Run Ryan. Amy, we're all desperately waiting to hear from you because you weren't with us yesterday, I don't think. At least I didn't see. Your opinion on that nurse who got fired because she was talking about committing assault and battery against police officers and ICE agents. She decided to film her mental breakdown on TikTok. And, well, I can't believe anybody could still be that stupid anymore. But if they weren't stupid, they wouldn't be communists. Will Run Riot says, dude, so I'm in a Discord server for the local electronic music scene. It's mostly a bunch of old heads. But given the scene, it leans heavily left. Some of them absolutely bonkers in the Discord. Discord, Reddit, a lot of these forums, except for our Discord. Our Discord's at forlibertynetwork.com, and it's based and red-pilled and white-pilled. That means, red-pilled means we've awakened. We're not woke, but we've awakened. And white-pilled means that we're optimistic for the future. I love the idea that my childhood best friend's parents listen to the Wake Up America show and are kind of proud of me because I get a lot of hate, which especially lately, which means I must really be onto something. But yesterday I heard from, and these are like the goodiest of two shoes when it comes to goodies. And that's the crowd that I hung out with growing up. I'm not ashamed to admit I was a good boy growing up. Okay, I know that might sound boring to some of you, but that's how it was. I was raised a good Christian boy and I behaved. But then I got badass when I went to college. Yeah. Broke a few laws. But I heard from the parents of some of my childhood friends, and they were just laughing at something I had posted on social media. And I'm sure it was something that Mark Zuckerberg would have hated. But they reached out and they were just like, they were saying, I'm so proud of you. We love you. And I was like, yes. Because I think if I was not on the right path, they would say so. This year, January so far, 29 days, you would not believe what's been going on over here at the For Liberty Network. Brad hasn't even seen it. We've been sick. He's been out. But I've been busting my hump. I've been working my tail off. I've been doing some amazing things to help build the For Liberty Network. Will you help us like Amy J. Easley does? Unlock the bonus content, make a contribution. If you haven't tithed in a while, drop a tenner in the chat. We'd be very grateful. Or go to forlibertyshop.com. Match my energy. I'm not asking you to match everything that I do because God bless it, I'm full time and I get everybody has challenges and things that get in their way. But if you want the For Liberty Network to succeed, kick in 5 or 10 here and there. Every little bit counts. And on the back end of things, I have been making massive moves, big moves for us. I just think that Cuba is going to fall this summer, and that Mylene Salabaria and her Cafecito Libre show on our network, which is going to be coming soon. I mean, we're kind of days away from the launch of Cafecito Libre. I think it's going to be a powerful gateway, a bridge for importing Javier Mileiism, my libertarian nationalism, a winning form of libertarianism to the United States. That will be the conduit. Join our community, be a part of the For Liberty Network. You can make a contribution in a small way by doing a Rumble rant, or if you're a capitalist pig like the rest of us, we totally get it. Try our delicious Founding Flavors coffee at forlibertyshop.com. The Jeffersonian Java is our #1 seller. It transformed our business. Everyone loves it. Tons of independent reviews telling you how much you will enjoy it. So head to forlibertyshop.com. Every purchase that you make from the shop goes to unlock the bonus content. If we raise $100, phase 1 unlocks. It's like a 2-stage rocket. Phase 1, we raise $100, you get our mini documentary. Phase 2, we raise $200, you get to, this thing just turns, I'm basically, what's his name from Price is Right. This turns into a real game show where we compete against each other for real prizes. It's really fun. It's called The Great Grift Off Liberty Loot Live, and we hope that you'll help us to unlock it. So head to forlibertyshop.com and buy a box of coffee if you haven't already, and sign up for a subscription. Okay, if it wasn't for the Wake Up America show, I wouldn't know what you guys look like. Haven't been to the office in 2 weeks. This house is going to drive me nuts. I know getting snowed in really didn't help. I might come pick you up in the truck this morning, Brad, just for old time's sake. We'll see. All right, so in the second hour of the Wake Up America show, we're going to go deep into the Show Me State. Camelia Peterson from Americans for Prosperity joins us to discuss the Liberty Revolution right here in Jefferson City, where it's 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Cold as ice, but we're willing to sacrifice our income tax, also killing the vehicle inspection shakedown. Oh, God bless it. Missouri, you gotta love living in a red state. And the unprecedented standoff between the GOP and activist judges. Missouri is setting the blueprint for the nation, and we've got the inside scoop on how to win that economic war. It's a packed show today. It's a fiery show, and it is the only show that treats you like an adult in a world full of adolescent activists. You know what I'm saying?
They chose to, they killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Preddy is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be a decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos. They chose to.
Oh, yeah, I think. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that?
Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure. Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing.
That's why you got to watch the show and not listen, because you get the video element. That's what really does it. I worked so hard for you. I've produced such a great show. I worked so hard. Wake up, America. For the last 7 days, the corporate press has been building a cathedral to the sainted nurse, Alex Preddy. But the mask just slipped, and it's covered in saliva. New footage just dropped showing the real Alex Preddy 11 days before he was fatally shot. And what was this peaceful healer doing? Smoke him to peace pipe, Pocahontas. He was filmed spitting at ICE agents, smashing the taillights of a federal SUV, and screaming like a man possessed by the woke mind virus. This wasn't a concerned citizen. This was a non-peaceful agitator who was infected with the delusion that he was above the law. He had a gun tucked into his pants while he assaulted federal property, and when the agent finally had to tackle him, he didn't learn his lesson. He doubled down. He came back a week later, armed again, to interfere with a lawful deportation of criminals who have been defrauding the American taxpayer. Need I be more clear on this? Crystal? Right? He didn't just stumble into a confrontation. He stalked it. He hunted it. And he found exactly what he was looking for. He played stupid games. He won stupid prizes. Dun, 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 dun. Oh. Another dead communist shitbag. But the real disgrace isn't just the agitators. It's the cowards who are in our own ranks. Since Preddy was shot, we have seen a pathetic, gutless buckle on deportations. Suddenly, we have Republicans whispering that maybe we should pause operations in Minneapolis. Pause? For what? Because a man with a Sig Sauer tried to wrestle with Border Patrol? ICE was acting in their lawful duty. They were targeting scam artists and fraudsters who have been hollowing out our cities. Every time a federal agent pulls back because an agitator gets hurt, the mob wins. We're rewarding the chaos. These people are not mourners. They are human shields for illegality, fraud. If you buckle now, you're telling every anarchist in the country that all they have to do is get in a scuffle and they can stop the rule of law. We don't need a pause. We need a surge. The scandals in Minneapolis are billions of dollars deep, and we're supposed to cry because the people protecting the scammers got dead. Not on this show. Sorry.
Quit
You never give shit leftards an inch. And then we have Renee Good, the other recent martyr of the anti-enforcement crowd. The media calls her a poet. Kristi Noem calls her a domestic terrorist who was stalking agents all day. The fact is, she was in a multi-ton vehicle ramming and impeding agents in the middle of a lawful operation. Since when did poetry give you a license to assault federal officers with a 2-ton SUV? The left wants to paint these people as innocent bystanders, but the truth is they are part of a coordinated campaign to sabotage American sovereignty. They're volunteering to be the front lines of the woke insurgency. They weren't dropping kids off at school. They were dropping off chaos. Renee Good and Alex Preddy chose their side. They chose to stand with defraudsters and against the enforcers. They chose to agitate, to threaten, and to interfere, and to commit acts of violence and assault. They got what they deserved. And the only thing that we should be mourning is the fact that our government is hesitating to finish the job they started. Do I think that there's going to be a way to fix these problems that aren't going to involve somebody getting hurt somewhere? I guarantee it, because somebody's going to get hurt because they're going to throw themselves in front of the bus. They're going to throw themselves in front of the train. They're committing suicide. When evil people start jumping off the cliff, the good guys are winning some battles somewhere. When you start seeing the lemmings, here they are, they're watching, they're marching down the edge. Double down, Debris, double down. It's die, double D, double die, double D, double die, double D, communists died. They died, double D, double died, double D, double died, communist shitbags died. Oh, remember when Charlie Kirk, remember all this? Remember when they shot him? Remember when they tried to kill President Trump twice? These are violent communist shitbags. It's time to do our duty. Do it for your kids. Do it for her. Do it for your country. And Nazis, they get the blade too. The Nazis, they both get the helicopter ride. Austin, why do you call it libertarian nationalism? Call it something else. No, libertarian because the Nazis will cry, and nationalist because the commies will cry. The libertarian nationalism. Communists, shitbag, Nazis, all of you, get out. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, where libertarian nationalism is the soup in which we mix. It's the water in which we swim. Pretty sure Pretty violated the nap there. Thank you, Booty Sweat. My blood pressure is just so high this morning. Should I calm it down? There's a nice sweet topic that I have coming up soon in just a few minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about the conservative baby boom, or we'll say right-wing baby boom. And the left just keeps murdering their own babies in the womb. Demographically, on a long enough timeline, it's like the effects of the China one-child policy. They're going to breed themselves out of existence. And I say, let them. Our kids are going to be the voters of the future. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. You don't like my attitude? Okay, well, sorry. I was raised this way. So, no mourning for the enemies of order. Let's be crystal clear. I'm not going to sit here and perform the mandatory grief ceremony for people who assaulted police and smashed taillights. If you spit on an officer, if you smash government property, if you reach for a waistband while surrounded by agents, you vacated your seat at the table of civilized discourse. The woke mind virus has convinced these people that their feelings are more powerful than federal statutes. It has convinced them that they are resisting oppression, when in reality, they're just committing assault. We don't need vigils. We need verdicts. We need to deport the criminals and prosecute the agitators. And to the politicians buckling in D.C., stand up or get out of the way. To the families mourning these peaceful protesters, look at the tape. Look at the spit. Look at the kicked out glass. Order requires enforcement, and enforcement requires the will to ignore the screams of the guilty. Wake up, America. The age of the agitator is over. It's time for the age of the law to begin. Baby, I was born this way. Oh, my God.
Of who he was Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm and composure.
I'm going to leave this on in the background just because it's too funny. The anarcho-tyranny of Minneapolis. Wake up, America. There is a word for the madness we are witnessing in Minnesota, a word that every patriot needs to memorize. Anarcho-tyranny. It was coined by Samuel Francis, and it describes a society where the government refuses to protect you from criminals, but uses the full weight of the state to crush you for defending yourself. Look at Minneapolis. On one hand, we have total anarchy, $9 billion in taxpayer money stolen by fraud rings, open-air drug markets, and agitators like Alex Pretty spitting on agents with impunity. The state is paralyzed, but the moment the federal government steps in to do the job Tim Walz refuses to do, the tyranny kicks in. Suddenly, the media and mayors are screaming about federal invasions and civil rights. They want the anarchy for the criminals and the tyranny for the enforcers. They've created a protected class of chaos agents, and if you stand in the way of the destruction, you are the one they put in the crosshairs. You want to see the contrast? Look at New York City and Daniel Penny, a Marine veteran who stepped up when the state failed, who protected a subway car full of innocent people from a threatening, violent agitator. The system tried to destroy him. They spent over a year trying to put a hero in prison while the criminals run the streets. Now, Penny was thankfully acquitted in December, thank God, but the message was, if you act like a citizen, we will treat you like a criminal. Now, compare that to the Minneapolis of today. The DOJ has launched a civil rights investigation into agitators, finally, who stormed a church service during a Sunday service. They followed families into parking lots, surrounded cars, and terrorized Christians. And what does Mayor Jacob Frey say? He calls it inspiring. He calls it peaceful. The tyrants are protecting the anarchists because the anarchists are their unofficial enforcement wing. It is a rot that goes straight to the core of the modern leftist machine. Brad, clip it. Let's talk about the anarchy part of this equation, the money, right? Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent just revealed the scale of the Somali fraud schemes in Minnesota. It's just mind-blowing. It's beyond comprehension. $9 billion stolen from feeding programs, money that was supposed to go to actual hungry Americans. Medicaid, childcare, $9 billion. That could fund the St. Paul Police Department for 10 years. But under Governor Tim Walz, the money disappeared into luxury cars, overseas real estate, and terrorist cells in East Africa. Why hasn't it stopped? Why wasn't it stopped? Because the Minneapolis leadership is terrified of being called Islamophobic. They've been called racists. They chose diversity over integrity, and anarcho-tyranny was the result. The fraudsters knew that the state would never audit them because the state is committed to the narrative. They created a protected zone where the law does not apply, as long as you're part of the correct identity group. If you're eating bananas and rice, you're fine, and it's like bananas and rice. And it's like if you had, I don't know, it's like bananas and rice or something. It's a dismantling of civilized society. But the tide is turning, and the tyrants are panicking. Operation Metro Surge has already captured 3,000 criminal illegal aliens in Minnesota in just 6 weeks, including murderers, rapists, and gang members. Trump administration is doing what the radical left said was impossible. They're reestablishing order. They're freezing payments, they're issuing subpoenas, and they're dismantling these fraud empires. The left is screaming because they know that once the anarchy ends, their power ends. Without the chaos, they have no leverage. We're replacing anarcho-tyranny with American sovereignty. No more protected agitators, no more selective prosecutions, and no more stolen taxes. If you assault an agent, you go to jail. You steal from the poor, we take your assets. This is a concept. I know it's not spoken of many times. You certainly don't teach about it very much, but it's called justice. Remember that word, justice? Liberty? Great. We talk about liberty a lot on this show. Do we talk about justice? What is justice? Can we remember? We take your assets. You steal from the poor, we take your shit. This is justice. And it's coming back to Minneapolis whether the mayor likes it or not. Wake up, America. The reign of the mob is over. It's over. Are you surprised? I was so surprised. Are you surprised? Bananas and rice.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean. So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know,
I know you have it on repeat. I had it on repeat there. It was a perfect loop. Bobby Hitler in the chat says, Sam Francis was called a Nazi and canceled for defending white people. Indian Dinesh Souza wrote columns to get him fired and ostracized. Womp womp. Welcome to Wake Up America Show. I'm your host, Austin Peterson. Roxy McGroin says, more of a Uncle Ben's kind of guy myself. We're a Jasmine Rice household. I'm going to take just a quick little break, guys. I've got a special little surprise for another segment. We'll get more bananas and rice when we get back. Don't go away. Unlock the bonus content, guys, if you're having fun. Make sure that you pay for it. Help us to support the For Liberty Network. Join us in Boston. Go to forlibertyshop.com. Walk the Freedom Trail. All you patriots, it's time to assemble May 1st and 2nd in Boston, Massachusetts, the heart of the revolution. We'll be right back. It's the Wake Up America Show on the For Liberty Network.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensack. She's not just talking, she's taking culture back. With sharp takes, brilliant guests, and a few surprises along the way. Tune in to the live video podcast twice a week, because the future doesn't have to be weird. It can be Culturama.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashion.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see, like, you know, it's you know, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Now, do we get it? I think I get it. Yeah. Wake up, America. Remember that viral sensation we just saw? The one the left-wing media tried to turn into the next Rosa Parks of the Twin Cities. That's Nasra Ahmed, the 23-year-old Somali American who gave us that profound, earth-shattering philosophical nugget about her identity. She stood at a podium on January 21st and told the world that being Somali and American is, quote, kind of like bananas and rice. She said, people don't think you can eat them together, but that's the mix. Well, it turns out when you add a pinch of rioting and a dash of assaulting federal agents to that recipe, the Department of Justice serves you a very different kind of meal. While she was busy crafting cute food metaphors for TikTok, she was also apparently busy participating in the chaos hollowing out Minneapolis. Surprise, 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 surprise. She wanted to be the face of a movement, and now, thanks to Attorney General Pam Bondi, she's the face of a federal mugshot. Turns out the rule of law doesn't really care about your cultural analogies. It cares about whether or not you're impeding agents trying to protect the public from fraudsters and criminals. And make no mistake, the adults are finally in the room. No black pilling. No black pilling. Attorney General Pam Bondi is on the ground in Minneapolis right now. She announced the arrest of 16 rioters who thought they could resist, impede, and assault federal law enforcement with impunity. She posted the names, their images, and sent a message that is reverberating through every anarchist mommy's basement in Minnesota. She said, quote, nothing will stop President Trump and this Department of Justice from enforcing the laws. She's charging them under 18 U.S. Code Section 111, which is the federal statute for assaulting or resisting officers. Nasra Ahmed found herself on a list with names like Helicity Boroska and Matram Charleboys, a who's who of professional agitators who thought that Minneapolis was a lawless playground. They thought that they could use the tragedy of the recent shootings as cover for their own brand of social radical disorder. But they forgot one thing. The Justice Department isn't doing gentle persuasion anymore. They're doing handcuffs. And don't you wish your girlfriend was hot like Pam Bondi? Thank you very much to Andy Opperman for helping us to unlock that bonus content. Are you guys seeing my come back with a warrant rug? Is that what it is? You're jealous of my beautiful don't tread on me come back with a warrant rug I got back there? Can you guys see it in the camera? I've got like a bunch of stuff on top of it. There's my space heater rocking out over there. It's cold in here. So, of course, the Minnesota Star Tribune and the rest of the apologist press are already writing sob stories. They're talking about how Nasra Ahmed was terrified and how she had aches and a concussion after her first brush with ICE. She claims she was racially profiled. She claims she was searched and shackled. Well, welcome to reality, Nasra. If you're standing on a wall next to a Homeland Security officer during an anti-ICE riot, you aren't being profiled, you're being prosecuted. The left wants us to believe these are innocent bystanders stumbled into a war zone, but Pam Bondi has the receipts. She has the images of them resisting and impeding. They want the benefits of American citizenship, but they want to vandalize the institutions that secure it. You can't claim to be the embodiment of the American dream while you're actively trying to turn an American city into a third world battlefield and hellhole. It's not bananas and rice. It's arrogance and entitlement. And it's finally hitting a brick wall called the U.S. Marshals.
It's like, it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American, but it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. You know, people don't really see.
Nazra Ahmed, go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $9 billion. The bigger picture here is the total collapse of the sanctuary narrative. Pam Bondi has told Governor Tim Walz to scrap the policies, cooperate fully, and give the feds access to the voter rolls and public assistance data. She knows that the riots are just the enforcement wing of the fraud rings. They use this chaos to protect grifters who are stealing $9 billion from the taxpayer. Every time a protester like Jillian Etherington tries to grab an agent's weapon or rams a Border Patrol vehicle, they're fighting for the criminals, not for justice. The Bananas and Rice girl just found out the hard way that the Department of Justice is not doing satire, and they don't do cultural nuance when it comes to federal assault. If you want to live in the United States of America, if you want to live in a civilized society, you obey the law. If you want to act like a revolutionary, prepare to be treated like a defendant. Wake up, America. The age of the protected communist agitator is over, and it's time to serve up some cold, hard American justice. 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 Bananas, bananas. Ooh, banana, banana. No, 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 no. I heard that you were talking, and you didn't think that we could hear it. Put your pom-poms down, but everybody fired up. This shit is bananas. Bananas. Camelia Peterson is going to be here in about 15 minutes on the Wake Up America show live. They had the hearing for the income tax yesterday. We have been tracking the possibility that Missouri may just be about to join a league of nations within a nation of states that have no income tax. I heard that you were talking tax and you didn't think that I could hear it. Well, Missouri, baby. Hey, let's hear it from the Missourians in the chat. If you're a Missouri in the chat, throw up your gang signs. Throw up your American flags. Missourians, they don't have the Missouri flag emoji, I don't think. They might. If you're a true Missourian, find that Missouri emoji flag and drop it in the chat right now. I want to see it. Where's my Missouri homies at? You can't spell justice without ice. Thank you, Arbold. Am I not based in Red Pill? Camelia Peterson is going to join us here. We're going to get local for a few minutes. We're going to talk a little bit about the possibility Missouri might be getting ready to abolish its income tax. We've got a bunch of other issues on the docket for her to dissect. So if my Missouri people are here, then drop the flag. Let us know. We'll be covering those issues for about half an hour. Then we're going to talk about the billions of dollars that are coming into the United States, not the billions of dollars that are flowing out, but where's it coming from? It's coming from Qatar. We're going to talk about where the money is going, Lebowski. On this show, we follow the money. Our money comes in, money goes out. Where does it go? Nobody knows. Does it go into my pocket? Well, then it goes for Liberty. Thanks for all the donations. And thanks for the purchases at forlibertyshop.com. We'll run riot, dropping him some American flags. Cecilia, my Missouri unicorn. Ice, ice, baby. Boom, 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 boom. Are we having fun on this show or what? Click the like button. If today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show, we'd love to have you be a regular guest. So click the follow button as well. We're always just goofing here. Just, new boot goofing on the Wake Up America show. Drinking Founding Flavors coffee. Guys, I'm so excited for the new show coming for Liberty Network. It's going to be Cafecito Libre, hosted by the lovely Mylene Salabaria. I just know it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a bilingual podcast on our For Liberty Network that will be our bridge to Central South America, to the Latin American world, because this new show is going to interview South American leaders. It's going to bring on guests from the Libertad Avanza Party of Argentina. So if you're a Spanish speaker, or it will be bilingual, so if you're interested, make sure you keep an eye out for the news on that, because we're days away from announcing the launch. And once that happens, I really think that she's going to be one of the most important voices when it comes to South American, Latin American issues. Cuba, I think Venezuela, she's going to become one of the most important voices in the modern news media landscape, podcasting anyway, just because of her unique background, her experience, and she's just got a lot of spirit, guys. She's fantastic. I think things are really coming together for us over at the For Liberty Network. This year, we've got a battle plan like none other. I've never felt more confident in our ascendance on the For Liberty Network. And I think also it's because we're brave enough to go our own way. We're brave enough to take risks. What we're building and what we started to build with the Wake Up America show, and what it has become, what it has grown to be with the For Liberty shop, and now in our second year of Liberty tours, meeting in real life, growing like crazy. It just is a veneration of I guess it's an exoneration or just the proof that everything that we've been doing for the last 3 years, especially if you've been with us from the beginning, is paying off. It's really paying off. The hard work is paying off. And if you think that the last 3 years were incredible with this growth and the growth of this community, just wait until you see what's going to come in the next 3 years. I've got so many mid, long-term plans, wonderful things that are happening. I wish I could share it with you all the time, but I can't always reveal our plans. So thank you. Thank you, Quest. I see you out there, and I know you're all doing your part, especially Mongoose87, who decided to roll in a little late this morning. Welcome, Mongoose87. Just teasing. Now, Camelia Peterson's going to be here. We're going to talk about some Missouri issues. I've also been teasing out, but I haven't gotten to the baby boom. This is an interesting story. So the demographic destiny, while the left is kind of celebrating the empty cradle, the MAGA movement is having a baby boom. We're going to dissect the birth dearth and show you why the GOP is officially the party of parents. The liberals are breeding themselves into extinction while we're raising the voters of 2044. Plus, is your alma mater bought and paid for by terror-funding autocrats? Qatar has dumped $6.6 billion into American campuses, and we have the unsealed court records from Carnegie Mellon proving that your children's education is being traded for petrodollars. So it's a systemic takeover, and we're going to blow the whistle on the whole grift, okay? So make sure that you hang around after Camelia. We've got a couple more important stories, big news items, some research investigation that we'd like to provide to you all. And Cecilia, all the babies, which, by the way, everybody say congratulations, Cecilia. She's going to be a mom. Aw. Little For Liberty babies. Don't you love it? Yeah. Oh, wait, where's my aw button? I think I deleted it. No aw button?
Why are you gay?
I'm not sure. Yeah, so lots of things to be excited for. Ike giving us shits. I know you've contributed in the past, bro. You're amazing. And people are like, oh, how can you build a community on such a small show, right? 90 live viewers. Well, first of all, everything these days is micro niche, right? So you don't really have to be. A lot of these people who have like big audiences and stuff, they love you one day and then they hate you the next day. My people tend to be ride or die, and we're not. It's not just transactional with us. Like, we know what we're doing and what we're building together, and so we stick through it. And the fact of the matter is that most of what politics is, this is a sad truth and reality. This is something I've had to kind of explain to a lot of people, and I know that it's painful. A lot of people don't like to hear it. It's the ugly side of things. But the fact is that most of this stuff anymore, it's not merit-based. It really is just pay to play. Are there people who, through their merit, will build a huge podcast and a show without like any advertising whatsoever? Sure, absolutely. But I think for the majority, maybe 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10 times, if you really want to just like bolster your numbers, you got to spend a lot of money on these platforms for like advertising and things like that. And we're almost there, actually. Financially, we're almost there. to be able to spend $2,000 or $3,000 a month just blowing up our shit and getting it out there. Because I'm competing with, mainstream movies that have $1 million budgets to get my content in front of the people's faces. But because of the intensity of the fundraising that I've been doing, and because of the intensity of your support and your financial support, I've really been able to, start to turn this institution into something pretty solid. And as a podcaster, I can tell you that doing this full time, it is no small trick. And, full-time employee, we got Brad, we're looking to bring in somebody else on this summer. And if everything goes according to plan, then we're going to have an incredibly powerful network by the time the next presidential election cycle rolls around. The For Liberty Network is not going to be anything to mess with. They're going to be talking about us everywhere. And if you're not a 1776er yet, it's time to sign up, guys. Today's the day. It's not much, just a free country. $17.76 a month is our Peterson's Patriots pledge. Go to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. That's wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. I'm calling upon your patriotism. I'm calling to have you step up today, open up your hearts and your wallets, and go to 1776 on wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. If you're not doing it, Quest is doing it. Quest is doing it. Several of you are. If you're a Peterson's Patriots or more, go out there and raise your hand in the chat. Let's see if you're a Peterson's Patriots, drop an American flag in the chat. These are Peterson's Patriots. Let's see them. Or Grant's Army, too. When I think we have two Benjamin's Brigaders, and one of them's my dad. So go to wakeupAmericashow.com/support. That's wakeupAmericashow.com/support. Become a Peterson's Patriots today. Let's build the future. I see we unlocked that bonus content. I'm so excited. I'm about to play the bonus content, and I think you'll like it. Don't go away. Camellia Peterson, I'm so excited to have her on. This show is going to fucking rock. The second hour of this show, if you thought the first hour was good, where has the time gone? Just wait. It'll be 9 o'clock before you know it. Then you'll be at work. We'll be right back on the Wake Up America show, and that's on the For Liberty Network.
A new film tells the story of a cancer patient's quest to confront the existential angst of dying by taking magic mushrooms. Nothing stood out about the two-story White House with its backyard playset, wraparound porch, and evergreen topiaries. It could have been any other home in this part of semi-rural Colorado. But on a chilly March afternoon in 2024, Lisa Jacobs found herself at this innocuous setting for a very unusual purpose: to take magic mushrooms as a way to confront her impending death from terminal breast cancer. "The fear, for me, is disappearing, of being gone," Jacobs said in a new documentary about her experience. Mushrooms, she hoped, would allow her to have a different relationship with the fear. A growing body of research suggests that psychedelic experiences, with proper guidance, can alleviate some of the anxiety, depression, and existential dread that inevitably accompany a cancer diagnosis. Psilocybin, the primary active molecule in magic mushrooms, was first researched for this purpose a decade ago, when scientists at Johns Hopkins University found that high doses of the drug produced large decreases in depression and anxiety, and high increases in optimism and quality of life, for 51 cancer patients who participated in the study. 6 months later, about 80% of the participants continued to show clinically significant improvements in their well-being and life satisfaction. Additional studies followed, strengthening the evidence for psilocybin's efficacy for easing end-of-life distress. Yet for the vast majority of Americans, treatment with magic mushrooms remains legally out of bounds. Psilocybin is a federally listed Schedule I substance, defined as having no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. It is also illegal to buy, sell, possess, or use psilocybin under federal law. Jacobs avoided breaking the law because she happened to live in Colorado. In 2022, voters there passed the Natural Medicine Health Act, which decriminalized personal possession, use and cultivation of psilocybin mushrooms. While the sale of magic mushrooms is still illegal, people in Colorado can now legally consume them at home or, as Jacobs did, under supervision at licensed healing centers. Heather Lee, a licensed clinical social worker and one of the first psychedelic-assisted psychotherapists to be certified in the U.S., warmly welcomed Jacobs and 2 younger women into her home, just a few hours before a snowstorm descended. Though the other 2 women were also there for psychedelic therapy for cancer distress, their vibrant appearances suggested that they were on a very different prognostic trajectory. Sitting on beige couches in front of a gas fireplace, surrounded by throw pillows, the 2 women spoke of remissions while Jacobs fiddled with her scarf. When her turn came, her voice cracked and she said she was here to do some peace work, some soul work. Jacobs later confessed that vulnerability is not a skill she ever learned. She didn't need to say it. Her strained voice and forced smile had already given away that weighty subjects were outside her comfort zone. She preferred instead to make small talk with the other women about the weather, upcoming birthdays, and the cute little crop top one of them was wearing. The incongruity of these moments underscored one of the film's overarching themes: ordinary people confronting what seems like an extraordinary circumstance: death. Yet it is, in fact, one of the most human experiences of all. In a society where death is mostly ignored and denied until it loudly makes itself known, though, Jacobs, like so many others, realized she was woefully ill-equipped to navigate it. She hoped the mushrooms would show her the way. The next morning, Lee prepared a psychedelic tea whose bitter flavor was masked with honey and lemon. "What meets you is meant for you," she said as the women clinked their pastel blue mugs and took their first sips. "Trust in that." Upstairs in bed, Jacobs put on a set of purple headphones and a pink eye mask, and Lee tucked her in. As with many psychedelic experiences, the hours that followed were both ineffable and full of symbolic significance. Jacobs recalled seeing a female warrior, who she understood represented herself, standing on the bank of a river wearing rusted, dilapidated armor. After years of fighting, the warrior was worn out, her armor in pieces. A sense of hope surged in Jacobs' chest as she watched the warrior cast aside the once helpful but now burdensome armor. She then made her way across the river to a field of green. Besides Colorado, Oregon is the only other state where magic mushrooms can be legally consumed. In Oregon, however, the options are even more limited. Psilocybin can only be accessed under supervised administration at licensed service centers. End-stage cancer patients like Jacobs should also be able to use psilocybin under the Right to Try Act, a 2018 law that allows terminally ill people who have exhausted approved treatments to access investigational drugs that have completed safety trials. But doctors who have tried to procure psilocybin for dying patients have so far failed because the Drug Enforcement Administration claims it has no mechanism to register doctors to administer illegal substances, an interpretation upheld in court last year. Ultimately, the mushrooms did not rid Jacobs of her sadness about leaving, as she put it, but she emerged with a new sense of freedom and acceptance about herself. Notes she took during the trip, written in green ink, served as a reminder of key lessons learned during that inward voyage. Forgive her, embrace her, love her just as she is. She doesn't need to do or be anything. Jacobs, who passed away in November 2024, also credited the mushrooms with helping her spend her final months following her heart rather than her head. The grief was still there, but now she could also savor the joy of watching the sun glint through swaying willow branches, being held by her mother as she cried, surrendering to her family's care with love and gratitude rather than resentment for all she had lost. It was an end to the story that should be available to us all.
Are you tired of the strange radioactive effects of leftist culture? Do you ever wonder what happened to good old-fashioned American values? Well, fear no more, because there's a new force fighting back against the cultural rot of today. Introducing Culturama, a right-of-center talk show that's taking back the future today. Hosted by none other than blonde bombshell herself, Daniela Pensa.
I am probably the president's #1 fan. and that's not going to change. And the hate or what people have to say, it does not affect me at all. It actually motivates me to support him more. And it's going to motivate all of us to support him more. We're not going to let them get away with bullying him and, the smear campaigns. It's not going to work, okay? He has a lot of force behind him, and God is protecting him.
Nicki Minaj.
Amen.
The bureaucrats in Jefferson City have spent years building a cocoon of red tape, from mandatory vehicle kickbacks to a tax code that punishes you for the crime of working hard. But the tide is finally turning. In the last 48 hours, we've seen the GOP leadership cancel the Chief Justice's State of the Judiciary address in protest of judicial activism. And we're seeing a moonshot attempt to turn Missouri into a zero-income tax state by the end of the decade. God bless America. It's a battle for the economic soul of the Midwest. To win, we need adults in the room who understand incentives, competition, and the raw power of individual liberty. Joining me now, the legislative director for Americans for Prosperity, a woman who is on the front lines of every major freedom fight in the Capitol, Camelia Peterson, friend of the show, and a Peterson's Patriot.
Yes.
That's right.
I don't know if I was the first Peterson's Patriot, but if not, I was in the first 5.
You were like the first 5 that signed up. You and John Combest, and for that, we thank you.
Yeah.
Camelia?
Awesome.
The GOP just took the unprecedented step of canceling the Chief Justice's State of the Judiciary address. Is this a necessary check on a court that's overstepping, or political theater?
Yeah, so they were supposed to have the judiciary address to the legislature yesterday, and we were in the middle of the hearing. Actually, we recessed the hearing on the income tax elimination for the House bill, and for that, and so I ran somewhere and I came back and I'm like, they're already out. What happened? And so anyway, come to find out, yeah, there had been apparently there was talk in both the House and the Senate, primarily starting with Freedom Caucus members, who said, look, given the judicial activism, we're not interested in hearing from them and we're going to walk out. And so they canceled the whole thing. And there's conflicting reports. Some were like, oh, the person, the judge that was going to give the address was sick. They're like, I don't think that's really it though. So I think they saw the writing on the wall, but yeah, it's been a big problem. And we have the Missouri court plan here in the state. Unfortunately, we started that monstrosity of a policy. And so other states have been getting rid of it because, you get left skewing judges as a result because you give so much weight to the Bar Association in picking your judges. So, trial attorneys, they have a huge say in that. So we kind of get the governor gets to pick the least of the bad choices. So anyway, yeah, they walked out. There was a bill that the court had struck down that affected ballot language and how it was written. And it was a good bill. But I mean, so the question is did they technically have some things right in their judgment? Maybe. I think you could make some arguments, but I think the point that on the part of the senators and the House members who were opposing this was that it does seem like they're not consistent in their judgments, and they seem to single out these types of bills that would actually limit their their participation in their role. So when they say that, because here's what the deal was, when we put ballot initiatives on the ballot for voters in Missouri, they write the ballot language in the bill and then it goes to the judges. If the judges don't like what it says, they have been able to just rewrite it. And then you have no control over it. And so what this bill did is it said, okay, it can go back to the Secretary of State. He's Secretary of State. He has 3 shots at it to rewrite it to where they don't like it. I think that's pretty reasonable. If they don't agree with it and he says, okay, let's try this a different way, that seems pretty reasonable. Gives the legislature also some say in it. So anyway, they don't like that though, apparently, and shot it down. So I am quite sure we'll see another run at it. But this is an ongoing issue. This is why we have Medicaid expansion in this state, is because of liberal judges. And Medicaid expansion is a part of the reason why the budget is blown out of proportion.
Boo. It's annoying. Amelia Peterson, she deals with capital issues here in Jefferson City, Missouri. Welcome to the Wake Up America Show. I'm Austin Peterson, 22 degrees Fahrenheit here. Let's talk about the governor's zero tax moonshot. So Missouri is surrounded by states like Tennessee that have no income tax. So if we actually pull this off by 2031, what does that do to the population drain that we've seen in our rural counties?
Well, it is, first of all, one, I think, piece to the puzzle that's a big piece as far as drawing business in. And it's true that, like, especially in rural counties, we've been bleeding population like crazy. There are, I think, a few different reasons for that. Like, right to work is one of those reasons, especially rural counties that are kind of on the border of the state, because we're surrounded by right to work states on most sides. So that's also something that we're going to tackle. But, you know, the all around us, states are like they're headed towards zero on income tax, and we can't be competitive and pull businesses in and workers and, you know, give people reasons to stay here if we can't compete with that. So it's a multiple step process, but we got to do the big piece because in Missouri, we have the Hancock Amendment, which means that any changes to the tax system has to go to the voters. So the voters will have to say, yes, you can kind of restructure things around. And then if they say yes, then we're on to the most difficult part of parsing that out with what you do.
The House just moved to kill the mandatory vehicle safety inspection. Critics say our roads will become Mad Max territory. But libertarians say it's a $12 shakedown. Why is AFP putting so much weight behind this specific repeal?
I mean, I think, you know, when we see this is one of those little things, right? And, you know, there's huge things like income tax elimination and education reform. But inspections are just one of those little thorns in your side, like all the time. And it makes no sense because everybody, well, maybe not everybody, but a lot of us like have that guy, right? That'll just like sign off on it because it's not worth their time either for $12. Like they get like $2 out of that, you know, because the state gets the rest. So it's a waste of time. I take care of my car because I'm self-interested in that, you know, I don't want to break down. So, you know, I don't need somebody to inspect it every time I have to go get it licensed. It takes time out of my day. I'm busy. Like I don't have time for that. So anyway, I think that this is just one of those supposedly little things, but has a big impact on Missourians. And it's just another one of those ways where the government interferes with your life on a daily basis.
When is AFP finally going to get behind my famous 2016 push to abolish driver's licenses?
Well, that might be a stretch. I don't know if we want to, but hey, I mean, you know, little things will also front license plate. We don't need front license plates in Missouri too, so let's get rid of those too.
Baby steps. I know, yeah. Stephanie's not used to that because in Michigan they have to have them on both sides. So she sees a truck that doesn't have a plate on the back and she's like, what? Is that legal? Yeah, it's legal. It's Missouri, baby. This isn't Michigan.
So, you know, we don't need inspections, we don't need front license plates, and we don't even need drivers because we want autonomous cars in Missouri too.
Exactly, yes. But if they're electric, then they're going to have to pay a gas tax.
Oh, you know what? What was really interesting is that the St. Louis Police Department put out something on social media, and they were warning in this last, you know, winter storm. They were saying, by the way, keep in mind, electric car drivers, that when it's really cold, it kills your battery really fast because they've been having to like pull them off the sides of the road because they were running out of juice because of the cold.
Electric cars, it's really one of those things. It is a plaything for the rich. If I'm going to be driving an electric vehicle at my budgetary level, it's going to be a golf cart, but not a vehicle. Or I'll get so rich that I'll just have 6 cars and one of them is the Tesla Cybertruck. But you brought up the St. Louis police takeover. The city is fighting tooth and nail to keep control of the police. Is state level oversight the only way to fix the most dangerous city in the United States?
I mean, I think that's been the debate for a while. And so, I mean, last session they did pass state control over the St. Louis police. It's been a mess, and crime was running rampant in the streets, especially in downtown St. Louis. So I think it's been a really good step. I think it's going to take us a little bit to see really what the outcome is that going to be. But there's still this fight going on. I mean, you've had in the city of St. Louis, you have had the sheriff of you've had the sheriff of St. Louis in jail because he's so corrupt. And so there's been this battle between, city of St. Louis and the attorney general. And I think the attorney general is going to win out on this. But I don't know what you do. You talk a lot about local control, but who protects people from their incompetent, municipal governments?
Yeah, I'm having the same conversation when it's like ICE in Minnesota. The local authorities aren't doing their job. They're told to stand down. There are violent, illegal, alien, criminal invaders who are defrauding us, stealing our taxpayer dollars, and committing violence in our streets. If the locals aren't going to do it, then what about the rights of the citizens, of the American citizens who live there, to live in a republic state, not to live under anarcho tyranny? But that's sort of. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, somebody kind of changed my thinking on this a while back because, there's libertarian is like big on, like local control, and I get it. And I think that there has to be a balance to that because it is true that, people closer to the problem know the best solutions. However, when you have your local government so often become much more liberal than your state government does. And so, the bigger the city gets particularly. But, I think what someone pointed out to me is that the state basically created, or in the hierarchy thing, the state created the municipal governments, right? So they fall under the purview of the state. So the state does have an obligation to make sure that they are not violating the rights of the citizens.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's time. St. Louis has gone on long enough. You have to enforce laws against criminals. You have to put them in jail and keep them in jail. But we've allowed our local prosecutors, we've allowed foreign money, we've allowed Soros money to come in and to pick our district attorneys in the city of St. Louis for too long. The Republicans, and I think by extension libertarians, have not been fighting hard against these people enough. And there's a sort of I think the Alex Pretty case was a pretty good example. I don't know, Camelia, if you saw the recent video of him smashing up a federal agent's car. Did you see that video of him? He was armed.
I didn't see the video.
The second video came out. I'll pull it up while we're talking about it right now. I got to push a bunch of buttons and find a video. So give me 2 seconds here. But yeah, so here's the video. You won't be able to see it, but what you'll be able to hear is Elizabeth Warren describing him while he attacks a vehicle. He's armed. He attacks a vehicle and smashes it up, a federal vehicle, and smashes it up and provokes a confrontation with the police. You'll hear Elizabeth Warren describing him as that's going on in the scene. So here we go. Roll tape.
Was at the core. Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light in him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
His calm composure while the guy, he literally attacks a federal vehicle, kicks it, gets into a confrontation with the police. So he'd had confrontation with them before like this while fully armed. I say he's a communist shitbag who effed around and find out. But I mean, it seemed like this case it showed us who many Republicans are, and I think it showed us what libertarians are, is that they are bleeding hearts and they're not really on our side when it comes to actually enforcing the law against violent, illegal, criminal aliens. I don't understand why so many on the right.
He was a veteran, right?
Alex Pretty?
Right. Was he a veteran?
I have never seen a story that has reported that.
Okay, maybe it was that he worked at the VA. Maybe that was the part. Well, I think that there was that kind of there was that sort of veteran, maybe it was the VA that he worked there. There was that association there that just got me to thinking, because you heard, when you heard people who were on his side or promoting him, you would hear that referenced quite a bit. And so I think that, so what I was thinking about, I guess, when I thought about that, is that I do think that there is this tendency and this bias on both sides to assume that, if you are involved in, helping our veterans, or if you are a veteran in any way, this somehow gives you more credibility. And the right does this too, right? I mean, like, and rightfully so in some cases, but I think to the point where we have to acknowledge sometimes that even when people, have been in the military, they've served their country, or they work and serve people who have been in the military, that doesn't necessarily define their character.
Well, sure.
And so there are always anomalies like that.
There's plenty of lefty Dem veterans who are commie pukes, and certainly they should be called out as such. And then you have Lindsey Graham on the right, who's a Republican conservative who didn't serve, but it's another story altogether. What I'm talking about here, Camelia, is not that. I'm talking about the people who saw this guy get shot and who immediately folded, there's a meme. I was going to pull it up for you. You won't be able to see it again, but have you ever seen that wife jack meme? It's where the sweet, naive looking female wife says something that's like, "Oh, pat her on the head, a little bit, pat her on the head here." Because I actually had I literally had this conversation with a woman yesterday. And here's the wife jack. I'm pulling up the picture right now, and it says, she's asking the question, "Can't we just fix it without hurting anyone? Can't we just fix it without hurting anyone?"
That would be nice.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice, Camelia, if we could just stop these violent communists, gun-carrying communists on our streets? Wouldn't it be nice if we could do it without hurting anyone? It would be nice, Camelia. It would be nice. But do you think that these people are going to, if they're committing suicide by cop, this is like the kamikazes of World War II, driving themselves into our airplane carrier. Banzai! Are we to mourn the imperialist jumping into airplanes and strapping bombs themselves and blowing themselves up on American ships? Am I to weep for the communist who drives himself into a federal agent and drives their car into a federal agent and gets shot in the face? Or am I to laugh, Camelia? Can I say that they effed around and found out?
I think this is somewhat similar to the conversation that we have when, protesters are, blocking traffic and jumping in front of cars and expecting that they can't go anywhere and that they're not going to get hurt just because they have these, inalienable rights as protesters, to do whatever they want, which is completely untrue, of course. But I mean, kind of like we talked about last time, I do think that we've created the context that is right for this, and the pendulum swinging too hard both ways. And I'm interested to see how things are with the changes, with Tom Homan and Kristi Noem out, or at least at a lesser role in this, kind of what changes there will be on this. To me, it seems, what are they calling this operation? I just saw it in Minneapolis or Minnesota. They've got
Operation
a whole name
like Midnight Freeze or something like that. It's like ICE. Yeah.
Right. There's
really
like a
cool
whole name for it. And so here's the thing though, in a way, you kind of ask for that opposition when you come in and you're shit posting on social media. Department of Homeland Security has been I'm not a fan of that. I want my
I wasn't
department.
Before. I've changed my mind. Let me tell you why.
No, I still haven't changed my mind.
I'm going to change your mind on this one. You know what the job of those, we're in a war. You know what the job of those people are? The taunters. They're called skirmishers. Their job is to draw the enemy out onto the field, right? Their job is to go out there, I'm going to start a fight. You send your skirmishers out before you send out the main force so that the enemy gets whipped up into a frenzy and the civilians retreat because the warriors, the fighters are there. The good guys, if there's any good guys, they get the hell out of Dodge. And the bad guys, they did this in Fallujah. The bad guys make themselves known and hold themselves up and grab bazookas and arm themselves and get ready for a fight. So you can know who the bad guys are. They come out onto the streets. You draw them out into the open. And if they just so happen to assault a federal agent while carrying a firearm and they get themselves dead, well, one less communist shitbag. I can't go along with this continual Lawbertarian surrender to the people who are trying to kill us. They shot Charlie Kirk. They assassinated him. They tried to kill the president twice. It's time for a little law and order. It's time for some justice. And no, Camellia, we can't do it without hurting someone.
No, and I do think though that we still I don't know. I like my government.
You just don't
like,
want. You just
I want
don't
my
want to hurt
government
anyone.
to do their job
You just don't
and be
want.
boring.
You just don't want
Like,
anyone to get hurt.
I don't need I just don't need my government. Like when we elevate government to the point of we're like, social media, like they're sticking it to them. Like, I don't want my government to be part of the, shall we say, like pop culture side of society, right?
Disagree.
I want them to just do their boring job because it should be smaller and less.
No, learn from Javier Milei. We need a chainsaw. He says never give shit leftards an inch. Never, and it's like we're giving them inches all over the place, Camellia. Javier Milei he's got it right. He works with Trump. He's building he wants to make Argentina great again. They may have different policies in many ways, but why do the libertarians and the nationalists, why is it that we are so copacetic right now? It's because we fight the left. We have to fight them. We have to. We can't continue to let them kill. We can't let them continue to commit political assassinations and cause anarchy and chaos in the streets without consequences.
I think the question is like we got to where we are because we just kind of slowly, like you give a little here and you give a little there, and like it's not that big of a deal. And you send your children off to be educated by Caesar, and it's convenient for you because it basically is become almost a child care program. Now it is a child care program, and so you let the government instruct your children on all of this, and that gets progressively more and more left and more authoritarian. And so we're here where we are. And I think the question is now is what will we do about it? And I think that we had a conversation last night with two Democrats and I told them they're the most reasonable Democrats in the state. But, the thing is like so much of this comes down to the stuff you don't see behind the scenes in the administrative boring process of things, but because it creates the framework that like locks up being able to do anything reasonable, especially at the federal level. It's almost impossible to get anything done. But, it also makes, all of these really boring kind of policy discussions super necessary at the state level and also at the federal level. But because we have drawn out of that and we've left that to the politicians and we've left that to the swamp, we are where we are, and it is so hard to change it because we don't have the framework to change it in. Anyway,
Camellia,
listen to the lesson here is listen to the nerds.
No, the lesson here is don't be black pilled. The lesson here is don't be black pilled.
Yes.
The black pillers, they'll never be leaders. The people
That's true.
Camellia, one of my favorite quotes. The people who say it can't be done should not stand in the way of those who are doing it.
Yes. 100% agree.
You're a builder. Go ahead.
One of those two Democrats I was talking to last night is a younger guy. And I love him, honestly, because he is a glass half full kind of person. And he will tell you that. And he's very optimistic being involved in his community. And I think, it's tough, I think, especially now when you're a Democrat to be in the party scenario that you are in now, because so many of the Democrats, it's kind of like so many on the right. It's all about owning the other side and fighting the right or fighting the left. And it's hard to find those folks who find that reasonable middle and find a way to work on things.
George W. Bush, that braid of conservatism is dead and gone. It's buried. May it rest in hell. It has.
But we need optimists on both sides.
That was the conservatism that didn't conserve anything. Finally, for the first time, we're winning some fights. We were on the retreat, Camellia, for decades. We had a brief period during the Reagan years of some turn towards our ideas. A little bit during Bill Clinton. You could say, oh, Jimmy Carter, he deregulated the craft beer industry. Whoopty shit. Okay. With Trump, he's actually making America great again. The world, these communist pukes, they're terrified of him. They're trying to assassinate him because he is actually changing things. And they're not always for the better in the way that you and I talk about, but some of the things are for the better. I saw today, Camellia, that Trump wants to make it illegal for the states to raise their gas taxes too high. I mean, that's kind of brilliant.
I think we get into the question. I think now here's where we get into the question of, does the federal government have the authority to do that with the states? And I would say no,
yes,
much more limited.
Yes, because we're going to do it anyway, because we're going to win, We're going to cut taxes. We're going to cut spending by any means necessary. Yeah. Milton Friedman said, I'm in favor of cutting any tax by any means necessary at all times, any times. And I'm going to follow his lead. I'm going to make that idea win. And there's nothing that's going to stop me, because if the end result is a lower tax, we won. Well, and hold on, one more last thing, and I want you to respond to this, and then we can finish this up. Okay. I think the problem is that there's too much focus by people like us on the process rather than the outcomes. And I think we probably, if the processes are not leading to the right outcomes, then the rigged game and the processes of the rigged game, we stop playing by the rules. Okay, no more. Don't tell me to obey any rules. Nothing is going to stop me. Okay. The people who are saying it can't be done should not get in the way of those who are doing it. And we're going to cut these taxes, and we're going to find a way to do it.
Yeah, no, and I think the fact that the process has been so stymied and corrupted at this point is really part of our problem. But here's the thing. It was like you said that and you said all that. Now I've lost what my previous thought was. But now here's the thing. When you talk about the states and the federal government and creating change, it's super important for states to be led, because we are these United States. We are not like the United States under a federal government. Like, we are these United States. Super important for us to maintain that autonomy and lead the way, because a lot of times when you see change happen at the federal level, it's because states are leading on the issue. Like things like marijuana, like lots of, there are a lot of things, the REINS Act, like all kinds of policy issues that are good for freedom in the country and making people's lives better.
Those can stay.
When states lead, when states lead on that, like they have to show the federal government the way.
When the states, here's my view on it. When the state's policy advances liberty, I'm for it and against the feds. Yes. When the feds' policy advances liberty, I'm for the feds. I'm for liberty all the time. Don't care what is the underlying premise, or I don't give a shit what Frederick freaking Bastiat said in 1800s. He's not alive today. And the Constitution may need to be amended.
Oh, no. We don't have time for that discussion today.
Oh, yes. Yes. Gosh. Yes, to outlaw for all time the income tax. Amendment.
Well, okay, like if we want to talk about amending the Constitution with some of those things that like the 17th Amendment, like, okay, yes, I'm on board with that.
Shit, Camelia, what do you think I'm talking about here?
Well, like, there's been this talk about how, the original Constitution, like, maybe that's not so good for us anymore.
No. You don't understand. We're going to send the communists and the Nazis to the concentration camps this time. We're going to force everyone to live in a free society. No one is going to. Yes, no one is going to force.
Authoritarianism for freedom.
You have no religious freedom to force a woman to wear a hijab in this country. Not in any of the 50 states. Not in any of the 50 states. We will force them to be free. There is no religious liberty to commit genital mutilation against girls. There is against boys, and we'll talk about that later. But we will force them to be free. We will force them to be free, because they're not going to move to our country, Camelia, and force us into their tyranny. The tyranny is the tyranny of the Empire of Liberty. The Nazis and the commies get the helicopter ride. Anything else you want to share, Camelia, before I let you go?
I think we've covered just about everything.
We love you so much, Camelia. We love you.
No, thank you. Appreciate you guys. And I appreciate all the nerds who pay attention to this kind of stuff, because boy, we need you guys.
Yes, we do. Thanks, Camelia. Thanks for fighting for liberty here in Missouri. We appreciate you.
Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure. Caring for people was at the core of who he was. He was incapable of causing harm. Alex carried patience, compassion, and calm as a steady light within him. Even at the very end, that light was there. I recognized his familiar stillness and signature calm composure.
It was like bananas and rice. If you're enjoying the Wake Up America show, please click the like button. If today's your first time watching the Wake Up America show and you feel like, boy, that white boy is on fire, then click the follow button as well. This is Bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. This is Bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Come and join me 5 days a week on the Wake Up America show, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. That's the Wake Up America show schedule. Why don't you be a regular guest? Hang out with us 5 days a week. It's fun. It's funny. Tomorrow I bring my smoking hot redheaded wifey on the show, Libertarian, so you can ogle her. No, don't you dare. I'll kill you. And Nelson65, Bobby Hitler in the chat, Booty Sweat, Peter the Great. I mean, don't you want to hang out with these kind of people all the time? We got Bobby Hitler, for God's sake. Hitler's third cousin on his mom's side. And Peter the Great, why not? All right, guys, welcome to the Wake Up America show. Let's have some fun and unlock bonus content phase 2. Head to forlibertyshop.com, guys. What are you doing? Have you not tried our delicious Founding Flavors coffee? I went this morning to get a box of coffee. I had a double shot espresso of one of the Founding Flavors brews. And then I was just like, I hadn't had it. I needed more, right? Because yesterday was such a long, long day. And I needed some like extra juice this morning. Well, I started wheezing the juice and I grabbed some Revere's Rebel Roast. All of the coffees that we offer are delicious, just in different ways. We have a little something for everyone. When you go to forlibertyshop.com, check out our Founding Flavors coffee. Buy a box. When you make purchases during this live show, if you can hear my voice live right now, you're the first humans to hear it. Others will listen later perhaps, but you are special. You are live. When you go to forlibertyshop.com, you'll see my favorite bundle. These are the top 3 bestsellers, and in my opinion, they're just my favorite. I have other ones that are good, but some people, maybe they don't like these. This is what I recommend for starters. If you've never tried Founding Flavors coffee, just buy yourself a nice little gift, a little treat. The top 3 favorites. We give you a little bundle discount, and that price includes shipping, so it's really not that bad if you compare us to other premium coffees, and we are ultra premium. At forlibertyshop.com, when you go to the coffee page, you'll see our top 3 favorites. Just add that to cart, and then you'll be able to try all of them and decide which one you like the most, so you can get a monthly subscription. If you only have one in your budget right now, no problem. Grab a box of Jeffersonian Java, Franklin's Electric Elixir, Thomas's Painkiller. We've got incredible, delicious. This is what I'm drinking this morning. Revere's Rebel Roast. People love Martha's Mint. The Founding Flavors Martha's Mint is just, it's such a fan favorite. People mix chocolate and milk with it at forlibertyshop.com. Buy some coffee during the live show. If we hit $200 on the bonus content level, what happens is that this show suddenly turns into a game show mode, and we all compete against each other on little mini games on our devices. And it's a really fun way. You can play at home with us. So make a purchase from forlibertyshop.com, buy some coffee, and unlock that bonus content phase 2. And we'll also have, it'll be like a live game show. It'll be a lot of fun. So let's do it. Let's do it. So do it. So do it. So do it. Do it. Do it.
California's gas prices high above the national average. President Trump says he's considering a state fuel tax cap in hopes of bringing those prices down. FBN's Max Gordon has more from an LA gas station, probably the last place a driver wants to be these days. Max, how's it looking out there?
Hey there, Bill. Well, at the Chevron here in West Los Angeles, a gallon of regular gasoline will cost you $4.39. We've got the second highest gas prices in the nation here in California, second only to Hawaii. And part of the reason that California's gas prices are so high is the taxes. According to stats from the Energy Information Agency, California levies the highest tax on gasoline in the nation at around 71 cents per gallon, more than double the national average for gas taxes. In addition, environmental programs cost an additional 54 cents per gallon, but now President Trump wants to change that, telling the California Post that he wants to place a cap on California's fuel taxes. Well, the details of the proposal are unclear. Trump told the California Post that he wants to get California gas prices down to around $2.50 per gallon. Still, a tax cap on gas in California would likely face legal action. The majority.
If the government is doing something in order to defend liberty, it's good. If they're doing something to take it away, that's bad. When the government does something to protect our liberty, the government of California is committing aggression against its citizens with its confiscatory gas taxes. If the federal government prevents California from treading on its own citizens, then it's good. You love to see it. Welcome to the Wake Up America show, where we can roast our guests and they still hang out with us in the chat, like Camellia. Trump is about to win over California voters. I know. You got to know that, like, if they pull that off, Gavin Newsom's going to be like, no, God.
No, God, please, no.
Oh, it's like bananas and rice. I think Camellia will like this next topic as well. Wake Up America. If you look at the West Wing right now, it looks a lot less like a government office and more like a maternity ward. And the corporate media is losing their minds over this. Last week, Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, Usha, announced they are expecting number 4. Congratulations. Carolyn Levitt is pregnant. Katie Miller is pregnant. James Blair is expecting in March. And how does the left respond to this? Vanity Fair calls them, quote, pronatalism's poster couple, as if wanting to continue the human race is some kind of weird underground cult activity. Slate says having 4 kids is, quote, conservative coded. No kidding, Sherlock. It turns out that if you spend your entire life telling young women that the planet is on fire, that babies are carbon bombs, and that success is defined by a middle management cubicle at a DEI firm, you end up with a political party that is literally breeding itself into extinction. We are witnessing the great demographic divide, the moment where the GOP officially became the party of the future, while the Democrats have become the party of the perpetually childless and the demographically doomed. You love to see it. They're so obsessed with abortion on demand that they forgot that a political movement requires, a next generation to actually carry the torch. While the Trump administration is building families, the left is building a suicide pact wrapped in a rainbow flag. Let's look at the receipts, because the numbers don't lie, even if the New York Times tries to hide them. In 2024, the U.S. total fertility rate plummeted to a record low of 1.63, well below the replacement level of 2.1. But here's the kicker. The fertility gap is not evenly distributed. The Institute for Family Studies revealed that in counties where Donald Trump won by more than 75%, the birth rate is 1.84. In counties where he got less than 25%, it craters to 1.31. That is a 40% difference in human output. Liberal women are now the first cohort in human history to report a desired fertility rate below replacement, meaning they don't even want enough kids to keep the light on. And why would they? They've been taught that motherhood is oppression and that an unborn child is a parasite. In 2024 alone, we saw 1.14 million abortions, the highest number in over a decade. The left has built a culture that celebrates the empty cradle while we celebrate the full house. They're trading their genetic legacy for cats, travel blogs, and antidepressants. This isn't just a policy difference. This is a civilizational disconnect. If you don't have children, you have no skin in the game for the next 50 years, and it shows in every single radical, short-sighted policy that they push through the Burger King crown of big government. Brad, clip it. Clip it. Oh, God, I love it when you clip it. Ah. You must clip it when a problem comes along. Here's the truth that makes the Marxists shaking with rage. Biology is real, and politics is roughly 40% heritable. Twin studies prove it. History confirms it. Children generally follow the moral and philosophical compass of their parents, which means the liberals are quite literally aging out of existence. The radical left is running a business model where they don't produce their own customers. They have to import them through broken borders and indoctrinate them in public schools because they aren't raising them at home. There are cults in the past that were anti-natalist cults that would commit chemical and physical castration of themselves, but they managed to reproduce. How did the cult stay alive for so long? It was the Shaker cult. Remember the Quakers, the Shakers, the candlestick makers? The Shakers would castrate themselves. How did they continue to propagate if they didn't have the next generation? They indoctrinated the kids through the schools. They found converts. This is the left's model. Castrate themselves, find converts in the public schools, right? MAGA women are defying the birth dearth because they actually believe in the future. They believe that Western civilization is worth preserving, that the American dream is worth inheriting, and that a large family is the ultimate FU to the bureaucratic state that wants you alone, taxable, and dependent. The media calls Usha Vance frightening because she represents a successful, brilliant modern woman who still valued the ancient, noble calling of motherhood. The left hates this because it proves their entire narrative is a lie. You don't have to choose between a brain and a baby, but you do have to choose between a culture of life and a culture of despair. We are raising the voters of 2044. They are raising their cats. I'll take our odds in that fight every single day of the week. Meow mix, please deliver. I want chicken, I want liver. Meow mix, please deliver. This is why the left is so desperate to nationalize childcare and control your kids from cradle to grave. They know they're losing the demographic war. As a small business owner and a media entrepreneur, I see these incentives plain as day. The system is rigged to make it hard for you to start a family. Inflation eating your grocery budget, the tax code rewarding the childless elite, but the MAGA movement is turning that on its head. We are the party of the Parent-Teacher Association revolt, the party of the homeschooling renaissance, and the party of the nuclear family. Alexis de Tocqueville once said that the strength of America lay in the superiority of her women and their devotion to the moral bedrock of the home. We're returning to that truth. The babies being born in this White House are symbols of hope, signs that we are not done yet. We are not a dying empire. We are a rebirthing nation. So, to every young couple out there listening, Cecilia, if you're out there, congratulations on your new baby. But if you want to truly rebel against the machine, if you want to truly frighten the blue-haired censors at Newsday and the woke bureaucrats in D.C., start on baby number 2 ASAP. That's what I'm doing. And I'm enjoying it. Start a family, build a legacy, teach your children to love freedom, to love God. All right, guys, don't get the thought of Austin and Stephanie bumping uglies, knocking boots. How do you think you got here, Hazen? All right, teach your children to love freedom, to love your God, and to never apologize for existing. The future does not belong to the loudest voice on Twitter. It belongs to the ones who show up. We are showing up with the next generation in tow. Wake up, America. The revolution starts in the nursery. Wrong button. Oh, shit, Austin. Can you bless me with something? If you guys want to see the Wake Up America show on next month, if you love me and you want to ensure that the Wake Up America show continues shining its light on these issues strong a month from now, click that like button, click the follow button, and drop a $5 in the tip jar. Can you bless me with something?
Can you bless me with something? Oh, gosh. Money-wise. Please. Can you suck it?
What? Baby number 1 needs to come first, says Cecilia. A few more months before that. Yes. So then a few more months after that, We're going to have a great time on the Wake Up America show as long as we're still in business, and we're still in business because of people like Cecilia. Cecilia's been a big supporter of ours in the past, and now she's going to be a mother, and now she's going to have a beautiful little baby of her, little Liberty baby of her own. Liberty, 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 liberty. What are you on, Austin? I'll show you. It's Founding Flavors Coffee. Buy some at the Griff Shop at thegriffshop.com. When you exit the show today, don't forget, don't back down to the commies. Don't give in to the haters. Just keep fighting for liberty and don't ever quit. I'm just tremendously grateful to have the support that we have, guys. Now, I have about 5 more minutes. Do I have time for this story? Yeah, I guess so. Sure, why not? Wake up, America. Karl Rove, the architect himself, just dropped a bomb in the Journal that should have every Democrat in a panic room. He says that the midterms are theirs to lose, and boy, are they losing them. So while the president's approval sits at 42.7%, the radical left is doing something truly miraculous. They're making Donald Trump look like the only adult in the room. How? Because they have an absolute, uncontrollable psychotic fetish for impeachment. 80 House Democrats are already co-sponsoring articles, screaming about Venezuela and the DOJ, while normal Americans are screaming about the price of eggs. Rove warns that this is a 1998 all over again. Swing voters see 2/3 of the Senate is never going to convict, so they see that these hearings are a total waste of taxpayer time and a partisan witch hunt. Independents don't want a 2-year trial. They want a 2-year recovery. But the Democrats can't help themselves. They're so broken by Trump derangement syndrome that they've abandoned governing for gossip. And the voters are going to hand them the bill in November. Mayor Marxist and the socialist surge. If you want to see the future of what that the left wants for your town, look no further than the tragedy unfolding in New York City. The victory of Zohran Mamdani, a card-carrying Democratic socialist as mayor, has sent the far left into a total frenzy. He won with barely 50% of the vote in a city that is 65% Democrat. Even liberal New Yorkers are starting to smell the coffee, and it smells like bread lines. Mamdani is pushing a flat 2% wealth tax, rent freezes that will destroy housing, and I'm not kidding, government-owned grocery stores. Because nothing says efficiency like buying your steak from the same people who run the DMV. Karl Rove's piece in the Wall Street Journal was right. Mamdani is the new face of the Democratic Party, and he's a gift to Republicans. Every House Democrat in a swing district now has to explain why they belong to the same party as a man who wants to defund ICE and turn the Big Apple into Caracas on the Hudson. The fever swamps are overflowing, and the moderates are drowning in the muck of their own making. Let's talk about the kook factor on this one, because the polling on cultural issues, it is a total bloodbath for the left. The latest Journal poll is crystal clear. Voters trust Republicans on the economy by 6 points, on inflation by 6 points, immigration by a staggering 11 points, but it's the cultural stuff that is turning independents into Trump voters overnight. Nearly 80% of Americans, including 60% of Democrats, want men barred from women's sports. 71% say no one under 18 should get puberty blockers. But the radicals in charge of the Democratic machine can't even define what a woman is without short-circuiting. They're defending men in ladies' restrooms while the rest of the country is worried about border security. Rove calls them kooks. I say they're like revolutionaries without a cause. Right? They've replaced common sense with gender theory, and the mom-and-pop voters in Ohio and Pennsylvania are looking at that circus saying, not on my watch. If you can't run a country if you can't acknowledge basic biology. And the American people are about to perform a reality check at the ballot box. God bless it. The final nail in the coffin is structural. In a normal midterm, the president has coattails that brought in weak candidates who are easy to flip. But Trump didn't have coattails in 2024. He had a mandate. Republicans actually lost 2 House seats while he won the White House, which means that means that there's no easy targets for the Democrats to pick off. They have to win on the merits, and they have no merits. As Rove points out, they have no governing agenda. They have no plan to lower tariffs without crushing American industry. They have no plan to stop inflation beyond printing more money. Their entire platform is Trump is mean. Well, guess what? Mean gets results, and nice socialism gets you poverty. The Democrats are in a banana jam because they've traded the working class for the woke class, and the working class is walking away. Unless they find a way to stop this impeachment obsession and the socialist pandering, the midterms aren't just there to lose, they're already gone. Wake up, America. The radical left is on the run and they're tripping over their own ideology. Don't you love to see it? I've had a fantastic day today. I think this show has been, I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm going to keep patting myself on the back here. Hope you will too. Don't forget to exit through the gift shop. Congratulations, everybody, to Cecilia. We know that you are glowing and floating above us with motherhood. Congratulations. We hope to see you and baby have a nice, safe, happy delivery. We'll be following that with great interest. You're one of the OGs, and your name will be on a plaque. The halls of Valhalla. Bruiser55 says he has a call at 10. Bye, Cecilia. I got phone calls. I got a lot of phone calls to make today. It's going to be a busy day. I'm going to be busting my hump for the For Liberty Network, trying to build something special for you so that when you wake up tomorrow morning, you're going to have another great show, okay? Wish me luck. Love you. Go kiss my little redheaded baby, and I'll see you guys again here tomorrow on the Wake Up America show and the For Liberty Network.
A new film tells the story of a cancer patient's quest to confront the existential angst of dying by taking magic mushrooms. Nothing stood out about the two-story White House with its backyard playset, wraparound porch, and evergreen topiaries. It could have been any other home in this part of semi-rural Colorado. But on a chilly March afternoon in 2024, Lisa Jacobs found herself at this innocuous setting for a very unusual purpose: to take magic mushrooms as a way to confront her impending death from terminal breast cancer. "The fear, for me, is disappearing, of being gone," Jacobs said in a new documentary about her experience. Mushrooms, she hoped, would allow her to have a different relationship with the fear. A growing body of research suggests that psychedelic experiences, with proper guidance, can alleviate some of the anxiety, depression, and existential dread that inevitably accompany a cancer diagnosis. Psilocybin, the primary active molecule in magic mushrooms, was first researched for this purpose a decade ago, when scientists at Johns Hopkins University found that high doses of the drug produced large decreases in depression and anxiety, and high increases in optimism and quality of life for 51 cancer patients who participated in the study. 6 months later, about 80% of the participants continued to show clinically significant improvements in their well-being and life satisfaction. Additional studies followed, strengthening the evidence for psilocybin's efficacy for easing end-of-life distress. Yet for the vast majority of Americans, treatment with magic mushrooms remains legally out of bounds. Psilocybin is a federally listed Schedule I substance, defined as having no currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. It is also illegal to buy, sell, possess, or use psilocybin under federal law. Jacobs avoided breaking the law because she happened to live in Colorado. In 2022, voters there passed the Natural Medicine Health Act, which decriminalized personal possession, use, and cultivation of psilocybin mushrooms. While the sale of magic mushrooms is still illegal, people in Colorado can now legally consume them at home or, as Jacobs did, under supervision at licensed healing centers. Heather Lee, a licensed clinical social worker and one of the first psychedelic-assisted psychotherapists to be certified in the U.S., warmly welcomed Jacobs and 2 younger women into her home, just a few hours before a snowstorm descended. Though the other 2 women were also there for psychedelic therapy for cancer distress, their vibrant appearances suggested that they were on a very different prognostic trajectory. Sitting on beige couches in front of a gas fireplace, surrounded by throw pillows, the 2 women spoke of remissions while Jacobs fiddled with her scarf. When her turn came, her voice cracked and she said she was here to do some peace work, some soul work. Jacobs later confessed that vulnerability is not a skill she ever learned. She didn't need to say it. Her strained voice and forced smile had already given away that weighty subjects were outside her comfort zone. She preferred instead to make small talk with the other women about the weather, upcoming birthdays, and the cute little crop top one of them was wearing. The incongruity of these moments underscored one of the film's overarching themes: ordinary people confronting what seems like an extraordinary circumstance: death. Yet it is, in fact, one of the most human experiences of all. In a society where death is mostly ignored and denied until it loudly makes itself known, though, Jacobs, like so many others, realized she was woefully ill-equipped to navigate it. She hoped the mushrooms would show her the way. The next morning, Lee prepared a psychedelic tea whose bitter flavor was masked with honey and lemon. "What meets you is meant for you," she said as the women clinked their pastel blue mugs and took their first sips. "Trust in that." Upstairs in bed, Jacobs put on a set of purple headphones and a pink eye mask, and Lee tucked her in. As with many psychedelic experiences, the hours that followed were both ineffable and full of symbolic significance. Jacobs recalled seeing a female warrior, who she understood represented herself, standing on the bank of a river wearing rusted, dilapidated armor. After years of fighting, the warrior was worn out, her armor in pieces. A sense of hope surged in Jacob's chest as she watched the warrior cast aside the once helpful but now burdensome armor. She then made her way across the river to a field of green. Besides Colorado, Oregon is the only other state where magic mushrooms can be legally consumed. In Oregon, however, the options are even more limited. Psilocybin can only be accessed under supervised administration at licensed service centers. End-stage cancer patients like Jacobs should also be able to use psilocybin under the Right to Try Act, a 2018 law that allows terminally ill people who have exhausted approved treatments to access investigational drugs that have completed safety trials. But doctors who have tried to procure psilocybin for dying patients have so far failed because the Drug Enforcement Administration claims it has no mechanism to register doctors to administer illegal substances, an interpretation upheld in court last year. Ultimately, the mushrooms did not rid Jacobs of her sadness about leaving, as she put it, but she emerged with a new sense of freedom and acceptance about herself. Notes she took during the trip, written in green ink, served as a reminder of key lessons learned during that inward voyage. Forgive her, embrace her, love her just as she is. She doesn't need to do or be anything. Jacobs, who passed away in November 2024, also credited the mushrooms with helping her spend her final months following her heart rather than her head. The grief was still there, but now she could also savor the joy of watching the sun glint through swaying willow branches, being held by her mother as she cried, surrendering to her family's care with love and gratitude rather than resentment for all she had lost. It was an end to the story that should be available